What is up, everyone? Welcome to a Game Week 6 wildcard and free hit draft video. We're going to be looking at wildcard drafts. I'll show you mine. I'll show you also a Haaland draft, a Haaland plus Salah draft. We'll also discuss some free hit players as well as part of this. And I will show you some wildcard drafts that some of the subscribers from this channel have also sent in as well. And I'll display it and show you what they are thinking as well in terms of wildcard options as well. Having said all of that, if you are new, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and let's get straight into the video. Alright, so wildcard draft. This is my current draft as things stand. I've got Petrovic in goal, Gabriel, Senesi, Tarkovsky, Reinders, Javi Simmons, Bruno Fernandes, Semenyo, Endai, Haaland with the cap, Joe Pedro, Dubravka, Gyökeres, Rodon, and Mukiele on the bench with a potential thought of bench boosting in game week 8. Now, if I was to bench boost, say, in like a game week 9, instead of getting Mukiele in here, I probably should have a Goodmanson or an Estev instead. That will also open up an opportunity for me to decide whether I wanted to bench boost in game week 8 or if I wanted to bench boost in game week 9, because that gives me more opportunities as well. So that is something that I thought I would mention as well here, but we've gone for like DEFCON defenders and a goalkeeper who would keep saves for a bench boost. The bench on game week 8 or 9, depending on what happens, like it will be Endai. Endai will have Man City in game week 8 and Spurs in game week 9. Just kind of have to decide on that as well in terms of a bench boost option. The team. Now, this is obviously a Haaland draft with no Salah in here. There are a few different goalkeepers that I considered on a wildcard. Petrovic is one of them. Probably the cheapest, best option would be Petrovic. Some of the other goalkeepers that I did consider for the wildcard were Nick Pope. Now, obviously, Arsenal, not the greatest fixture. But then after that, the fixtures are not too bad, to be honest. And Newcastle's defense so far has been pretty good, I would say. So Nick Pope was definitely one of them, and also in terms of like picking a reliable Newcastle option, he's probably one of them. Vicario was there purely for the amount of saves that they would have to make in some of the harder games, and also the next two look good. Actually, next three or four look good for Vicario in terms of potential clean sheets as well. It gets a bit more slightly trickier, like game week 10 onwards, it gets a bit more trickier for Spurs in terms of potential clean sheets. So that specific time period, you might not see too many clean sheets for Vicario. Two of the more popular ones where a lot of models would suggest is, one is David Raya. And that I can understand because people go, okay, Arsenal's fixtures are not too bad. Obviously, the Newcastle are not doing too well in terms of scoring. It's just that at the moment, I look at David Raya and I go, it's kind of a bit too expensive. Now, if you haven't got him already, he rose up in price today. Kind of feel like a bit expensive for what I'm expecting. I want a bit more for my goalkeeper. Like the ceiling is generally 6 points, unless like a crazy game like Manchester United happens where he's having to face a lot of shots and make a lot of saves, and then he ends up with like bonus points as well. Otherwise, generally the ceiling is 6 points, and I feel like Petrovic at 4.5 with like you saving at 1.1 million, Pope at 5 million, a saving of 6.6 or 0.5 million, depending on that, when you got to David Ryan. Those kind of opportunities are there, and I'm like, okay, I don't mind going for some of those keepers and using that money elsewhere in terms of either defense or attack, to be honest. Now, I obviously have this. Look at this squad that you see on screen is not my wildcard squad. I've just been like trying to target price rises and to see whether I can get lucky in terms of a double rise before I actually set my current team. But the one I showed you initially was the actual team. So those are some of the goalkeeper options that I've looked at. Donnarumma is also one that has been suggested by a few models, I would say. I've seen people have Donnarumma in their team. Again, it's probably because of the City defense, but honestly, at the moment, I don't know if I would want to have Donnarumma in just yet. Purely because, again, same thing like David Raya, I just feel like it's a bit too expensive for a goalkeeper where generally the ceiling is probably 6 points most cases. But that's up to you guys if you want to go for expensive goalkeeper or not. In terms of defense, Gabriel, Senesi, Tarkovsky, Rodon, Mukiele. Now let's talk about the... Oh, also, I should mention free hit. For those of you on a free hit, if you're going free hit, Pickford would probably be my goalkeeper of choice for this week against West Ham. Apart from Pickford against West Ham as a goalkeeper of choice for this week, I would also think Who else could you add in here? You could probably have David Raya if you wanted to as a goalkeeper option, because Newcastle are slightly struggling in terms of scoring. But it would be between Pickford and Raya. I think slightly I would edge it towards Pickford. I think Vicario also against Wolves is not too bad as a goalkeeper option as well on a free hit if you wanted to go there as well. If you wanted an extreme differential, who might make a lot of saves, the clean sheet although might be a bit uncertain, I would say Rufus from Sunderland, the 4.5 million Sunderland goalkeeper. That's extremely differential. Now, defense: Gabriel, Senesi, Tarkowski, Rodon, and Mukiele. Let's talk about the 4 million options. There are a few 4 million options for defense, and Rodon is obviously the DEFCON from Leeds. Mukiele is the DEFCON player for Sunderland. And obviously Estev is the DEFCON player for Burnley. These are your promoted team DEFCON players. Goodmanson is the more slightly attacking bonus point option. Occasionally gets DEFCON here and there in terms of a 4 million defender if you wanted to go and get. Not too bad as well. Also depending on when you're bench boosting. Again, like I said, if you're bench boosting in 8 or 9, these are not too bad. If you're bench boosting in 8, then it's probably Sunderland players that you would want to have alongside the Leeds options. Alderete is also not too bad, slightly more of the, I would say, attacking threat player with the occasional DEFCON here and there. He got DEFCONs, he's been getting DEFCONs in how many games? He's got it in the last 3 games, he's got it. Burnley, he was very close to getting it. Game week 1, he didn't get it at all there, but he had the assist in that game. So he is another player that you could potentially consider as well. Those are your 4 million options. In terms of the rest of the defenders, apart from the ones that I've mentioned here, Gabriel, I feel like Gabriel and Senesi are probably locks you want in a wildcard. Tarkowski is a player that you would want in a wildcard and a free hit. Actually, these 3 players you probably want in your free hit as well, to be honest. I really couldn't think of too many other players that I would want in a free hit for this week, because they have great fixtures. West Ham are pretty bad against set pieces in terms of defending corners. Everton, Tarkowski is one of those threats for corners. If you wanted maybe Keane against as well, double up on Everton defense if you didn't go for Pickford in goal on a free hit, that's an option as well. But Tarko, Senesi, and Gabriel. I would also probably add in terms of other defenders, I would say Dan Burn is not too bad. Just that, I mean, at 5 million, he's not a bad option, I would say. Occasionally could get, I think, some baseline bonus potentially sometimes. DEFCON is also not too bad. He hasn't hit it in every game. The games where Newcastle have to defend quite a bit is when he'll hit it. So like the upcoming Arsenal game, he will hit the DEFCON. Where they probably have the ball a lot against like Wolves and Leeds, then they doesn't really hit the DEFCON that much as well. But occasionally can get you a bonus point potentially. Julian Timber is another one. The thing is, one's like, the only thing that kind of puts me off Julian Timber is potential rotation with Ben White if Champions League fixtures are a bit more tougher. Arsenal obviously are getting a few injuries here and there. Arteta wouldn't want to risk it too much. Now, obviously, the same can be said for Gabriel, but I feel like Gabriel and Saliba generally will start more games than Julian Timber. Having said that, Saliba is also not a bad option, I should say, for an Arsenal defender who could potentially hit DEFCON as well. Now, obviously, he hasn't been up here because of his injury status, but he's another Arsenal defender that is not bad and can hit DEFCON. So he, in the last couple games, he's hit 9 DEFCON against City, obviously not available against Forest. He's at 3, 5, and 14 against Man United. So in the Liverpool game, he had only 4 minutes, so it doesn't really count. So he's had only City, Leeds, and Man United. And out of those 3 games, 1 shot from City. Obviously, he did in the United game. And Leeds, he got only 5 DEFCON. So yeah, thought I'll mention Saliba as well. They're not too bad options. In terms of other options for defense, I'll show you a few in terms of the other drafts. You might be able to see a few different, like people are going for Guardiola from City defense. I don't mind it, not fully convinced about it. There are the Crystal Palace defender options as well. It's just that the upcoming fixtures are slightly bit tricky where I go, they're probably not going to keep a few clean sheets at the moment. But if you are looking for Crystal Palace defense, Richards and Guehi are probably my picks. Even Lacroix from Crystal Palace, those are the picks. It's just that the upcoming fixtures, clean sheet wise, they don't look that great. Spurs, there are options as well. Romero is one option for Defcon. Romero, Defcon. Van de Ven is probably not going to get you Defcon. It's more like if you're lucky, you get attack in returns. Those are the two from Spurs. I'd favor Romero over Van de Ven if you had the cash to go there. And who else am I missing in terms of teams? Other teams, I would say, I think that's kind of it in terms of like defenders that you would want. Oh, Anderson. The only thing with Anderson is the fixtures until game week 10 are not that great. Game week 10 onwards, Fulham's fixtures improve. So I'd probably suggest Anderson around that time. I wouldn't look to have him in a wildcard just yet at the moment. So that's your defense. Let's move into midfield. Reinders, Javi Simmons, Bruno Fernandes, Semenyo, and Dai. Who else can you add to this list? On top of this list, if you wanted to add, you probably add in for a free hit more than a wild card. These are a majority of these midfielders are the template midfield you will see. Instead of Javi Simmons, you probably could see Kudus as well in there. In terms of a free hit, you probably would have Phil Foden as well on this list if you wanted to go a free hit option. In terms of other free hit options as well, I would say, I don't know if you'd want Semenyo in this over Foden and Javi Simmons for a free hit, or you could have Semenyo over Bruno Fernandes as well if you wanted to on a free hit. In terms of wildcard options, I think, like I mentioned, Javi Simmons, Kudus. You could potentially go Foden on a wildcard as a 2-week punt if you had enough transfers already saved up where you can kind of remove him. It's not too bad for Phil Foden as well. Brian Mbeumo from Man United is also not too bad on a wildcard, I would say. Jack Grealish is okay. I feel like now Endai is just better because of the DEFCON. He is definitely a better option if you wanted to go for someone who would get a bit more consistent returns in terms of points. Who else am I missing out on? I don't think Arsenal. Now, you could say Saka is a possibility. It's just that I want to wait and see a bit more from Saka in terms of will he get consistent minutes. That's the only thing that I kind of want to wait and see. Obviously, Madueke is injured, but doesn't have to mean that Saka is necessarily rushed into play. Now, he will most likely start the Newcastle game. It's just that after that, are they going to rush him fully? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, because after that, the fixtures are good. Saka could be a punt after that as well. So he's, from Arsenal's perspective, he's definitely someone to consider. We've mentioned everyone else, I think. I think that's basically it, to be honest. I wouldn't have anyone else. If you wanted from Chelsea, Enzo or Caicedo, but not too convinced at the moment from their players in terms of midfield options. I just feel like Reinders at the price is probably slightly better at the moment. So yeah, those are some of the midfielders that you could have a look at. And then the forward line. Haaland, Joe Pedro and Gyökeres is the template forward line. Even though I don't like to say it, unfortunately, it looks like the most template forward line. On a free hit, I would say Richarlison is also on there. Actually, on a wildcard as well, you could probably have Richarlison as a 2-game week punt as well. That's just a very short-term punt because Kolomani also needs minutes. Matthias Tell can also play there. So there are a few things like Richarlison could have competition once again, like Europe kicks in and all, and rotation kicks in. Richarlison could have a bit more competition, which is the same said for Javi Simmons as well, which is why Kudus is slightly better for minutes. In terms of these three, apart from these three other forwards on a free hit, Isak might not be a bad choice on a free hit because we know he's going to be playing. It's just that I don't think he'll get you 90 minutes. That's one thing I should probably mention, because now that Ekitike is out, suspended, Isak will definitely start. It's just that don't expect 90 minutes probably. In terms of other strikers on a free hit, no one really. I guess you could say Evan Nilsson against Leeds, but I would rather have like Haaland, even Richarlison, Haaland and Richarlison over Evan Nilsson probably for these fixtures. You could you add anyone else? Sesko, maybe not. Nah, that's basically it. Yeah, I think that's kind of where I would go for in terms of your forward lines options for the free hit. Wildcard, I think it's these three plus Richarlison is in the case. Walter Marder from Newcastle is also not a bad shout, because Newcastle's fixtures after the Arsenal game, Newcastle's fixtures are looking pretty good. You could potentially wait and see once Visa is back after the international break. Maybe he could also be an option. But yeah, that's basically it for the wildcard and the free hit. This is like the free hit 11 that I kind of went with. Things that I would change were obviously you could have Embuemo instead of Bruno Fernandes as well. Probably could have I don't know, instead of Foden, you could have Kudus. Instead of Xavi Simons, you could have someone else as well. So there are a few different combinations it would fit. If you really wanted to have Salah, you could, but I feel like this is the week you can probably go. Like Crystal Palace are 17 games unbeaten so far. So it's not a bad fixture to go without Liverpool cover for this game if you wanted to like take some risks. So yeah. Let me now show you a few wildcard drafts that were sent over to me. This one is from Dom. So he's gone for Petrovic, Gabriel, Senesi, Tarkowski, Reinders, Bruno, Endai, Semenyo, Haaland, Gyökeres, Joe Pedro. You can see very similar to players that I mentioned. Dubravka, Mukiele, Richards, and Caicedo as like the 5th choice midfielder he's gone for in terms of compared to where obviously Kudus, Xavi Simons, like that midfield will change based on your budget as well, right? So that's one wildcard draft. This one was sent by from Andy. Andy has obviously played his wildcard draft, but he sent one over as like one he made. He's gone for like a Petrovic, Chalobah, Gabriel, Senesi, Calafiori, and Timber. He's gone very heavy on the Arsenal. Salah, Semenyo, Reinders, Haaland, Joe Pedro, Anthony, Josh King, Mark Yu, and Dubravka. Now this one is potentially if you didn't have a bench boost, then you can like have a very minimal bench. If you didn't have a bench boost already, have a very minimal bench. I probably would not have triple Arsenal defense. I probably like have slightly different options in there, like compared to what we just discussed as well. This one was from who was this from? I think this one. Let me have a fully confirm exactly who it was. This was from Sam actually. Sam obviously is also on the wildcard. Petrovic, Dubravka, Gabriel, Senesi, Rodon, Guardiola, like I mentioned, and then Van de Ven instead of like Romero as options because of the budget as well. He's gone for Semenyo, Endai, Reinders, Bruno Fernandes, and Kudus, like I said as well, as a different option. Joe Pedro, Haaland, and Gyökeres. All depends on budget in terms of which players you can try and go and get as well. So that's another wildcard. And then this one was from Freddy, David Raya, Tarkowski, Senesi, Gabriel, Kudus, Semenyo, Embuemo, Reinders, Enda, Gyökeres, Haaland. And then on the bench, because again, this is another one where Freddy had already played his bench boost, so can go very minimal bench. Don't have to worry about a bench at all. It's gone for Anderson, Richards, Dubravka, and Mark Yu. Now, since you don't have to worry about bench boost, you can kind of like keep these players like Anderson, Richards. Fixtures are not that great at the moment. Will improve after, so you don't have to actually play them at the moment. You can bring them on when you need them after. So that's some of the benefits of not having the bench boost, not having to worry about planning for game week 8 or game week 9 bench boost. So yeah, these are the some of the drafts. Let me know in the comments if you've reached up to this point. Let me know, are you playing a wildcard or free hit this week, or are you playing the triple captaincy? Let me know in the comments. If you are playing a wildcard or free hit, give me the names in the comments as well. And if you reached up to this point, smash the like, smash the subscribe, and I'll see you all later see you all tomorrow. Not tomorrow, on Saturday for the deadline stream, 2 hours before the deadline. Peace out.